Lytudiep greets all dear friends. Diep is exhausted. She no longer has enough strength to continue walking. She collapsed. Her face pale. Her breathing gradually weakened as she lay there. Will she be able to wait for Jame to come? Or will she leave without waiting for Jame anymore? Will any miracle happen? Where is Jame? Is there any slim chance that he can meet Diep today? Let's watch and see. The sky that day was strange. The sun and rain took turns like a heart unsure of what it felt. On a parched field far from the noise of the city, a young man crouched beneath a withered tree. In his hand was a small wild fruit. The kind no one could tell was edible or deadly. He stared at it for a long time as if trying to remember something important. His name was James. And he hadn't eaten all day. I wonder if this is safe, he muttered. But I'm starving. He took a bite. The sweet and sour flavor burst on his tongue. It didn't kill him. That was enough. He gathered a few more fruits, tied them inside his worn sleeve, and stood up slowly, gazing at the hazy horizon. Somewhere beyond that line, he believed, Diep was still out there. The wind swept through the field like a ghost, carrying the scent of dry grass and loneliness. James walked back to his cabin, a makeshift shelter on what used to be a shared dream. A farm he and Diep had once built together. Laughter used to echo here. Now only silence remained. But James refused to leave. He worked the land, talked to the trees, and waited. Because that's what you do when you're not ready to say goodbye. He had already searched the entire city, street by street, face by face. No one knew Diep. No one had seen Haki, their mutual friend who had also disappeared without a trace. The only thing James found was emptiness. Then, a phone call. It was from his uncle, the only family left who still checked in. Are you free? His uncle asked gently. Come by the house. I have something to tell you. James didn't know it yet. But that phone call was about to change everything. On his way to his uncle's house, James spotted a figure by the roadside. A young woman, collapsed, pale, barely breathing, with a pile of wild fruit skins scattered around her. James's heart pounded. Miss, are you okay? She was still breathing, thank God. He carried her to safety, made her herbal medicine, and stayed by her side all night. Her name was Mai. When she finally opened her eyes, her voice was weak. But her eyes were steady. I was too hungry, she whispered. I didn't know the fruit would make me sick. James nodded. He knew the feeling. Despite still being weak, Mai insisted on leaving. She had to return home, far away. Over 50 kilometers to a village called kindCEO. James offered to help, but she refused. She wanted to walk. Thank you, she said softly. If I ever pass through here again, I'll repay your kindness. He watched her walk away until she became a speck in the distance, and wondered why someone who barely knew him felt so familiar. At his uncle's house, something happened that nearly brought James to his knees. There's been a sighting, his uncle said. Someone saw a girl matching Diep's description, near the outskirts of the city. His heart stopped for a moment. She left some things here, his uncle continued. You should take them back. James held the items like sacred relics, a broken phone, a scarf, a few forgotten personal belongings. He felt her again, her breath in the cloth, her warmth in the faded scent. His hands trembled. He couldn't wait. He set off immediately. Meanwhile, Mai was back on the road, trying to sell the same wild fruits that nearly poisoned her. She sat on the sidewalk with a worn basket and offered them with a soft smile. Some buyers looked at her with doubt, some with pity. But she stayed there, patient, calm, stronger than she looked. Then, the moment everything shifted, a villager came forward and said, I think I saw that girl, the one on the flyer, near Trung Truk Bridge. She was unconscious near the forest edge but woke up and walked off. I'm sure it was her. The search team confirmed it. The call reached James within the hour. His body went rigid. His heart beat raced. He dropped everything and ran, through the wind, through the rain, through the blur of memories and hope. It didn't matter how far. It didn't matter what he'd find. He had to go. He needed to go, because if she was still out there, even the smallest chance was worth chasing. Back at the market, Mai was packing up her things. She'd made just enough money to buy a little food and maybe pay for a ride. She didn't know that the man who had saved her was now racing towards someone else. She didn't know her brief presence had left a mark on his life. And James? He kept driving. Past the fields they once streamed on. Past the places where she used to laugh. He didn't look back, because the past was memory. The future, a fragile, trembling possibility. The bridge appeared through the mist like a scene from a dream. The rain eased. The light broke through. Would she be there? Would she remember? Would he be too late? We don't know what he found beneath that bridge. Maybe it was deep. Maybe it was silence. Maybe it was a new beginning or a final farewell. But what we do know, what every viewer feels, is that James never stopped loving. Never stopped searching. And sometimes, love is not about certainty. It's about faith. It's about a man chasing a slim chance, and the people watching, holding their breath, daring to hope along with him.